This is part 2 of the Explorer Sport Trac exhaust manifold broken stud repair. And I just want to start out by saying I have no intention of doing part 1, part 2 as some sort of regular thing. I want every repair to be, done in one episode. This one is just, it's taken me a while. This is my 3rd weekend now working on it. So I wanted to get a lot of that stuff out there. My 19 subscribers, I want to give them something to watch. So anyway, you can expect we won't be doing a bunch of part 1, part 2. So just to remind you of what it is we're trying to fix. So that's the leaking exhaust manifold we're fixing, and let's take a closer look at our progress. So here are the 2 rear studs on this exhaust manifold, and they were broken off. So the top one, I have about 14 hours invested in drilling it out and grinding it with Dremels and all that stuff. And so I finally have it's almost completely empty, and I put a stud in there. Now this hole, though, in the process of drilling, it's sort of oversized now. And see, the stud, it can almost slide all the way in. It's just gripping a couple threads at the very back. For this top stud, where the hole is bigger than it should be, I had originally planned to fill the hole with JB Weld Extreme Heat, but I decided instead to go with a helicoil thread repair kit. So the helicoil, if you're not familiar with it, you're actually inserting new threads into the hole. Well, to do that, you have to drill it out to a certain size. This calls for a 21/64 drill bit, so I bought an extra long one of those. And then you use a special tap to create threads in the hole. Use a special tool to screw the new thread insert into the hole. Now this kit was 35 bucks. And of course the drill was, I think, 15. So now I'm $50 more invested, but I think it's going to be a better repair. There's other thread repair kits on the market. I bought it from Amazon. I thought $35 was probably double the price of some of the other ones, but for me, it's worth it. Things like this, I like name brands. I like to buy stuff that I'm familiar with. So for me, it's worth spending the $35. So I think JB welding my engine together, I like the sounds of that from a hillbilly point of view, and I've done it before, but I think as a long-term repair, this would be better. My number one concern, of course, is the bigger I make that hole, am I getting more at risk of drilling through the aluminum and into the coolant? But when I put this bit in there, it can already go in there like a 1/4 inch or 3/8 of an inch. So I'm already this large of a hole. So I don't think I have that much more risk. So, if I drill through the side of that bore and you start seeing green stuff come out, you're going to see a grown man cry, but I think we're in good shape. So here's my drill. Actually, I hardly had to drill anything out. That hole was so big, I'm just sort of making it uniform. If I stick my drill in there, my drill bit, and then I use my finger to mark how deep it is. So that's how deep the hole is. And if you look at how deep the stud needs to go in, I'm actually a little deeper than how deep the stud needs to go in. So I'm in good shape with the hole right where it's at. Now I have to use the cutting tap that comes with the helicoil kit to create new threads in this hole for the thread insert. This will actually take out more metal. It'll actually make the hole a little larger diameter. Still a little risk of going through, but I think there's enough metal here. We're going to be in good shape. It feels like it's bottomed out there, but I'm going to just mark the edge with my Sharpie. That way I know when I get it out, I'll be able to kind of measure how deep it was. I think the Sharpie's about right. I think the Sharpie's about right there. And so yeah, I think it's all the way in there. It was all the way in there. It's always good to get some air in there and blow it out. Now, as I mentioned, you got this thread insert, right? I'm super zoomed in. They give you this special tool. You thread it onto the insert, and it hits this tang on the end, and that's what you just thread right in there. We created the new threads. I need to get a socket that I can put on the end of this to turn it. Well, I just spent 10 minutes looking for a tool and I could not find it. I'm serious. I spend more time looking for tools than anything else. Looking for that little tool that comes in your kit, in your tap and die kit, that has a little square end on it. I could not find it, so I got this little metric wrench. I'm just gonna have to turn it with that. I was about to call you to see if you had taken that tool, but I remembered you weren't here last time I did this repair. So as you see, we just screw those the new thread insert, you just screw it right in there. And the instructions say you have to screw them in until they're about a quarter or a half, did I say a quarter half turn or a quarter half thread below the surface. The top of the insert must be a quarter to a half turn below the top surface. So I'm going to get that on in there. I feel like I bottomed out. No. Okay. Better be happy with where it's at, because I don't think you're getting it out. It's quarter to a half turn. Instructions say that you insert a punch and break that tang off. Better make sure it is below the surface. It says you insert a punch and break the tang off. I don't know if I can get a hammer on that thing. All right, I turned the camera off, I don't know, a couple minutes because I had to tape two punches together and pound it and crawl under there and stick my head in there, and there's not a lot of room. But from looking in there, it looks like I got that tang out of there. Give this a try. These have a little hex on them. You put a little socket on the end, you turn them in there. It kind of hits it's not in all the way. You can see that bulge isn't in there, but it kind of hits a tough spot. I don't know if I need to just push through there. That's where that tang was broken off, I think. Okay. I think that's a lot better repair than the JB Weld. Feels pretty permanent. At least I feel pretty good about it. Now we need to tackle this bottom hole, which is right there to the left a hair. That hole is, I used the Dremel to sort of grind kind of a cone into it, trying to make sure the center is good and centered. You know, so I am going to try one more time to use a bolt extractor. This may be the last time ever. I'm hoping in this case I'm going to drill perfectly in that hole and we're going to get it done. And if it doesn't, it's the last time I'll ever try. Well, I quickly realized that the drill was not going to work. So I'm back to the Dremel to see if I can at least, the drill's sort of going off center, and I want to really make a depression deep, nice and deep down in this hole. So I'm back to the Dremel. I don't know if I broke something off in there. It's acting chattery like it's hitting something hard that's broken. I don't think I broke a tool off. I have to go watch my own video. Honestly, if these extractors don't work, I could just grind the whole thing out of there and just thread it up and be done. That's another option. On my bottom stud hole, I've been using the Dremel to clean it out quite a bit. I've got it nicely shaped, but I really want to drill it out some more and try that extractor one more time. So I'm going to use this 1/8 drill bit. The problem is it's just a little too long because it's a tight area in there. So I want to cut about a 1/2 inch off of it and off the drill bit. So my best option for doing that is to Dremel. I'll Dremel the end of the drill bit off. I'm not gotta cut the short end, or the non-cutting end of that drill off. Let's see, cutting, these are for, this is for plastic. These are for metal. I'm going to put my safety glasses on for this one. You know, drill bit's pretty hard, so to cut a drill bit, it's probably pretty hard material. I don't want to hit me in the eye. That wasn't hard. Ooh, warm, a little warm. Ow! So now this should be short enough to get in there until I wear out this drill bit, which is kind of what I'm good at. Do not break this drill bit off. I'd like to get an idea how deep it is by using this other drill bit. I haven't shown you this, but I like to use this little mirror so I can see directly into the hole a little better. You can see in the bottom there. I don't know. Okay, after a series of cutting off drill bits to make them smaller so I can work this hole up from tiny to bigger, I finally am getting some bite with this extractor. But now let's see. I mean, there's a lot of tension. Something just came loose. And the neighbor just started mowing her grass. This is my first ever, and you're there to see it, successful use of a bolt extractor. Okay, I'm not going to give up on them altogether. But a lot of the mistakes I've made have been my own. My first ever, see it, and it broke free right at that last second. You kind of saw it break free. Wow, epic. Look at that. Look at that. Super happy about that. Super happy about that. You can tell. So this is the way it's supposed to work in the end, is you get the extractor kind of right down the center, and I did, and I can see some places where the threads are, you can see through the threads, they're like skeletons, probably because as I was dremeling and stuff, and that is the textbook. I want to show you this thing I noticed on the gaskets too. So these are the exhaust gaskets, and you can see on the right end here where the studs were broken, it's more blackened because the exhaust was escaping through there for a lot of years. But on this left end, which is the front of the engine, it's also blackened on the left end. On the top half is more blackened, as if exhaust had been escaping there. So that stud was in good shape, nothing wrong with it, but I want to look at the engine too and see, does it look similar? So we're under the hood now. We're looking down on the side of the engine. What you're seeing is my mirror. I'm kind of moving it there. And you're seeing the top of that exhaust where the manifold connects. You can see on the bottom side of the mating surface, you can see is more clean and brown. See where the stud hole is, whereas the top is more dark, as if exhaust has been escaping. I mean, there's nothing we could do. You know, we're putting on a new gasket. We'll tighten the studs down and everything. It could be the exhaust manifold is warped potentially. I don't know, but we're gonna just we're gonna clean the surface, put the manifold and gaskets on, and torque it down appropriately. But it's just something I noticed, so I wanted to point it out. So we're back under here, and you know, really good cleaning solvent is brake clean. It's good for everything. So put some of that up there, clean that. One thing you never want to do on an aluminum mating surface is use a steel scraper like this one. And you never want to do this. So that's what I'm doing it right there. Never want to use a steel scraper because you can gouge the aluminum and then create a leak path. You can see a leak path right there I gouged with my Dremel. So I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. I have brass brushes I use for cleaning it. You can do that too. But brake clean, get as much of this old junk off as we can so we have a clean mating surface. So I cleaned the mating surface kind of a little bit, and now I'm going to put the studs back in. So originally, other than the two broken ones, 3 came out the nut and the studs, and 3 came out just the nuts. So I wanted to get all the studs out and replace them with new ones. 2 of them won't come out. They're stuck in there, and I am not going to put a bunch of pressure on them. The last thing I'm going to do is break more studs. So I'll go ahead and put new ones in where I can. It's a 6mm hex on the end there to twist them in. I had mentioned, and then I forgot to do it, but now I am going to do it, is to run my tap through this bottom hole just to clean up the threads. As I was dremeling and everything, there was some amount of maybe hitting those threads and stuff here and there. I just want to run my tap through there and clean up any damage I did to the threads on that outer edge. You can see little bits of shavings coming off. I don't know if that shows up for you, but you can see little shavings coming off. So it's definitely cutting something. Now I'll hit it with some air. This reminds me so much of dental work. I mean, I'm grinding, I'm drilling, I'm blowing air, and I have little mirrors. I mean, this is really so much like dental work. And this right here, what we're doing right now, is the first step of reassembly. We have turned the corner to reassembly. So as I'm installing the studs, some of them didn't want to screw in. Well, the first one didn't want to screw in, so I thought maybe I should chase all the threads. So I'm using my tap to clean all the threads. Then I wondered, should I use anti-seize? So I asked Siri, I'm putting steel bolts and an aluminum head to hold on a manifold. Should I use anti-seize? And she said, no, you should not use antifreeze for this, but you should use anti-seize. I'm like, that's what I asked you. So she said high temp anti-seize, which I actually had, maybe from the last time I did it. High temp nickel, you don't want to use anti-seize with copper for this application. So there's that. The other thing is, as I'm chasing the bolts, I actually cut 2 knuckles. I didn't want to mention it earlier. I thought I was going to have a job here with no band-aids. I'm about 16 hours into the job. It's the first blood. It's not bad, but I usually put band-aids on, otherwise the blood just gets everywhere. So it was a close call. We almost got done with this job with no band-aids, but I am going to put some on. I'm not going for the big one. Remember, that's for a special occasion. We're not going for the big one. We're just going for some regular ones here. Well, I chased all the holes with the tap, which was a really good idea. Used the high temp anti-seize, not anti-freeze. And all those studs, they just went in like butter. They went in so nice. So the surface is clean, the studs are in. Now I need gaskets. I ordered them from Rock Auto. They were supposed to be here Thursday. It's Saturday and they're not here yet. So I've got to wait. Could be 2 days. I have to wait to finish the job. But for you, it'll probably just feel like 2 seconds. See? I told you that wouldn't take long. For you anyway. It's Tuesday. This was supposed to be here Thursday, so it's about 5 days late. It was with the Postal Service the whole time. It's not Rock Auto's fault, but that is sort of what happens sometimes when you do a mail order. Now, this is an exhaust gasket. This is quite a box. I'm looking forward to seeing why we need such a big box for an exhaust gasket. But we'll take a look. And I hope there's a magnet in here. Sometimes with Rock Auto, things come in 2 shipments. You only get 1 magnet. I feel like if I'm paying shipping twice, I want 2 magnets. So we have a lot of packing material, which is great. I did get a second magnet. Square body step side. And all that for here is my gasket. So I got the exhaust manifold and I've got the gasket here, and I just, line them up, and it's the right thing, which is great. I want to clean this exhaust manifold. I could wire brush it. I could brake clean it. I decided the fastest way is just get my orbital sander. I put some 1500 grit wet dry on there. Is that the right way to do it? I don't know. I don't try to think, hey, what's the right way because somebody's watching. I just think, what would I do if nobody was watching? And this is what I would do if nobody was watching. It just, I thought about what's the best way to clean this thing up, and this seems like a good way to me. Got it. Towels went rolling down the driveway. All right, my goal is to get it all installed. Gasket, the manifold, new nuts, and get it all installed tonight. So the top 4 nuts are actually easier to get from on top. So actually I went with my mirror, and I looked down here with my mirror and my light just to make sure the gasket is all lined up, and it is, and the top ones are easier to get from up here. Now I'm going to put some anti-seize on these nuts as well. And you might think, Sean, why are you doing such a high quality repair on an 18-year-old truck. And I think, well, if I live a natural life, this truck's got to last me another 30 years. So maybe 18 years old, but it's not even halfway through its life. So every repair I do has to be high quality so that I can make sure it lasts as long as I expect it to. So I'll go ahead and put these nuts on here. Well, there's few things better in life than doing exhaust work at 10 p.m. with a flashlight. But I just got to enjoy an hour of that. And it really is one of the simple pleasures in life. So I'm glad I got to do that. So I'm done with the repair. The manifold is on, the exhaust is buttoned up. I haven't started it yet. I was going to do that with you and see, has it been fixed? Let's check it out. I think that sounds like a vehicle is supposed to sound. So I'll still need to put on the heat shield and just put the tire on, but I'm going to consider the repair a success. So let's break this repair down by the numbers. Starting with time. I have about 18 to 22 hours invested in the repair over the course of 3 weekends. Now I had the luxury of having a different vehicle to drive. If you're working on your daily driver and you have to get all this done in one weekend, it's a lot of pressure and it's not as fun. When you have the luxury of time just to work on it, some nights and weekends, it's much more enjoyable repair. In terms of the money I invested, I bought a lot of Dremels and drills and extractors. That totaled $58 at Durst Lumber and Ace Hardware and included a good amount of free popcorn. I bought my helicoil and long drill bit at Amazon for $50, and then the gaskets and the studs and nuts from Rock Auto for $28. So a total repair there of $136 to complete that repair. In terms of the Band-Aid count, I just used 2 of them. I did cut these 2 knuckles open. That's actually a low number on the Band-Aid count. A repair like that much time working with exhaust and rusty bolts and wrenches slipping, I got away pretty good on the Band-Aids. Now, where was the big mistake that I made in this repair that made it take so long? Here it is. I don't think I need to take this manifold completely off. I misjudged where the center of the hole was, the center of the stud was. I needed to drill. I drilled off to the side. I broke extractors. So I think not taking off that manifold is a little bit of laziness. I didn't want to invest the time. I also was afraid of breaking extra studs and bolts. So there was that too, a practical matter. But I think it's important to learn from our mistakes, and not wanting to take that manifold off really caused me a lot of extra time invested. But it makes the point. Creativity and perseverance is what it's about to get repairs like this done. You can do it. It takes a lot of perseverance, and you really got to push through. Sometimes I'll keep like this this extractor in this stud on my desk as a reminder to me of the power of perseverance and never giving up and what we can accomplish. So that's the automotive adventure, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.